Remember, when you have a function and its inverse, to verify that they are in fact inverses of each other, we use the fact that f inverse of f of x has to equal x, where x is in the domain of f, and f of f inverse of x has to equal x, where x is in the domain of f inverse. We can take that idea to try and figure out the value of the inverse sine of the sine of 9 pi over 8. Now, the inverse sine of the sine of 9 pi over 8 would equal 9 pi over 8 if 9 pi over 8 was in the domain of the sine function. However, recall that in order for the sine function to be 1-to-1, we restricted its domain to be negative pi over 2 to pi over 2. So 9 pi over 8 is not in the domain of the sine function. However, we can rewrite this expression to find an equivalent sign that does have an angle that's in this particular domain restriction. To figure that out, we recognize the following. 9 pi over 8 is going to be an angle that is somewhere in the third quadrant, where the y-coordinate is negative. If you think about the fact that the sine of negative pi over 8 will have the same, negative pi over 8 will have the same y-coordinate as 9 pi over 8, that means that the sine of negative pi over 8 is the same as the sine of 9 pi over 8. And negative pi over 8 is in this domain. Therefore, the inverse sine of 9 pi over 8 is equivalent to the inverse sine of the sine of negative pi over 8. Now we can use the fact that f inverse of f of x equals x because negative pi over 8 is within this domain. So the result is going to be negative pi over 8.